saw Magic Mike XXL in an entirely empty movie theater this week. Comment down below on how you would have handled / taken advantage of this situation.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure you can guess where this is going. And let me tell you, I'm going to link the video, so you need to go check out the comment section for yourself, because it is all about how she just contradicts herself left and right from all of her feminist videos she's made in the past. Yeah, let's just go through this and break down this doublethink.
Oh hey, Lacey here. Magic Mike doesn't pass the Bechdel test, bitch and pussy are used as insults, and they throw a bunch of litter out onto the freeway while they're driving. And yet, something about Magic Mike feels so right, especially in like this general region.
Okay, so I hope you noticed that the general region was the male's crotch. And I can tell you now that the strippers are definitely not going to be the average men. And she's totally objectifying them right now. Objectifying. Sexually objectifying. And then she's going to go on through this video to explain why it's okay.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and call it the female gaze. The male gaze is a concept that was established in 70s feminist theory. It focused on how the camera and films lingers on women and sexualizes them in non-sexual contexts. So female characters are chosen and written with the pleasure of men in mind.
She did not go out on a limb. That's actually a phrase, the female gaze and the male gaze. And she was right on the definition of the male gaze. But did you see how she pretty much just said it's okay for me, but not for you? I mean, really? Can you contradict yourself just a little bit more, Lacey? Yes, I'm sure you can as this video goes on.
The theory also refers to the fact that most of the media is viewed through a male perspective because it's written by men. As of 2012, women only write and direct 15% of films and 26% of primetime TV. The male gaze is considered dehumanizing because it treats women as one-dimensional sex objects. Any agency or desires of her own. She's just kind of plopped into the plot line for no other reason than sexual titillation.
So we're having a really bad storm here, and I can't get my internet to cooperate with me. But I'm going to go ahead and say that those statistics are probably accurate. But again, it's okay for the man to be in the same position that you're arguing for about the women. It's just, oh my God, really? It's okay to sexually objectify the man, plop him in there with no storyline. I'm sure, like, I've never seen the movie, but I'm sure there's just a lot of eye candy, and these characters aren't as deep as you want to make them out to be. Really. Don't hurt yourself with the cartwheels that you're doing with these mental gymnastics.
So, does Magic Mike's female gaze fall into the same trap, just targeted at straight women? Is it hypocritical for feminists to enjoy the film? Although Magic Mike was written and directed by men, it's pretty explicitly about her pleasure. That's not something that we see very often. In fact, I don't think that I've seen a big screen movie that focuses on female pleasure, ever.
Yes, it falls into the same trap. And yes, it is hypocritical. Then you go on to say that it's okay because it's about her pleasure. So it's okay when it's about her pleasure, but not okay when it's about his pleasure. And I'm just going to think that you're like me and you don't watch a whole lot of movies, because even though I don't watch a whole lot of movies, Pretty Woman, Chasing Amy, Diary of a Teenage Girl, 50 Shades of Grey. That one may not have been out when this video was made, so we'll cancel that one. Crimson Peaks, Miss You Already, Short Order. These are all films centered around the advancement and the freaking pleasure of women.
We do see an awful lot of one body type, the type that looks like he was chiseled by God herself. But there's more to Magic Mike than meets the eye, or vagina, or abs, if we're being honest.
Well, at least you're being honest, you hypocrite. Really. Couldn't objectify men any more than that, could you?
One of the keys here is that in Magic Mike, the characters are actually in a sexualized context. They're strippers.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that if it was women in that same context, you probably wouldn't be too happy with it. I'm pretty sure. Like Showgirls. Showgirls is the perfect example. I just don't think that you would be so very accepting of Showgirls, even though, you know, it's about female strippers in a sexual context.
Sex appeal is the explicit goal in the plotline, and it's what gives them power, as opposed to being used to take them less seriously.
And there we go again. So it's okay for men to use their sexuality as power, But when you have a strong female character that's put in that same position of using her sexuality as power, no, that's sexism. That's sexist. Fuck me.
Even in a sexualized context, though, the characters are given more depth than their looks and body alone. There's no doubt they're sexually objectified, but the film does manage to humanize them by exploring their desires, personalities, interests, and dreams of their own. They're portrayed as full human beings with multiple dimensions to chew on, even if their dialogue is a little bit cheesy, but I mean, who doesn't like at least a little cheese, right?
If you weren't so hung up on the sexuality and the stereotypes of some of these other movies that you're probably talking shit about, and took time, you would obviously realize that a lot of these female characters you're talking shit about right now have those same exact qualities. They have depth, they have story, they have wants, they have ambitions. You're just too blind to the fact that they're scantily clad, or they're just fucking sexy ass women that you can't see past the end of your own fucking nose.
Lastly, the female gaze in Magic Mike has different power dynamics than the male gaze. Women are not typically given sexual power, especially not on screen. Our culture places this bizarrely high value on a sexless, virginal woman. Women who are old or overweight are told that they're not sexy and don't deserve love. Women who are too sexual are shamed and called sluts and whores. Magic Mike totally flips that paradigm on its head. People of all ages and sizes, races, and gender expression are free to be sexual on their own terms.
As I said before, I haven't seen the movie, so I'm just going to gather by what you said there. There's also some fat, ugly people being put in the same sexual power positions that you're describing the rest of these strippers in, right? That's what you're saying, right?
The movie also encourages people to talk about what they want and need openly. I think opening that discussion and listening to your partner is a huge part of female pleasure and pleasure, period.
Lacey, that's probably just about the most sensible thing you've said through this entire video, and I totally agree with you. Dialogue is important, and if more men would be more willing to open up, they would experience a lot more pleasure. Yeah, you're right. And that goes for women as well.
While some people might see Magic Mike as feminist hypocrisy,
Because it is, Lacey. Because it is.
I think that ultimately comes down to some confusion about what the male gaze is all about. The problem isn't having films and media that's sexually exciting to any particular gender or sexual orientation. The problem is when one gender is constantly sexualized and without agency in every single context.
So when the scales tip, and you have all these feminist directors, and the male is the one being sexually objectified, I'm going to hold you to this. Because you act like it's a huge fucking problem, and you've just said yourself it can be used as power. So is it that you don't feel like you're sexy enough to use your sexuality as power? Is that the problem? Or do you really think it's a systemic problem, and every male in the world just objectifies every fucking woman they see, and that all these movies just... when I have private conversations with my male friends, none of this stuff ever really comes up. And when it does, we are way more respectful than you might think. And believe me, I've worked in a restaurant for almost 20 years now, and women speak far worse and in far more detail than men.
Sexuality itself, it's healthy, it's fun, it's a natural thing. We just gotta do it respectfully. So in the words of Andy McDowell's character, play the field and don't stop till you find someone that rocks your f***ing socks off. Hell yeah, hell no. Let me know what y'all think about Magic Mike XXL down below.
Hell no. And I really highly suggest that you go down in the low bar and and check out the comments in her video for yourself. Yeah, it's very entertaining.